My experience in multicultural America made me look at my upbringing in a different way. I grew up in two different Chicago suburbs, Berwyn and North Riverside. Berwyn was mostly Hispanic and Latino, and North Riverside was mostly white. Despite being about a 7-minute drive from each other, there were many differences between the two neighborhoods. I experienced the difference in the school districts, as my school in Berwyn was about a year behind my school in North Riverside. After taking Multicultural America, I have learned that this is not a new phenomenon, as it is very common for schools with a majority population of white kids to be ahead of those with a large minority population. We learned about the rich history of the fight for equal education in Art 150, looking at images from the March on Milwaukee. This was a 1960s movement to protest the discriminatory acts and segregations in schools, housing, and social clubs in Milwaukee. Another huge lesson I learned in Multicultural America was about how the media portrays race. In week 4, we looked at the White Privilege Checklist by Peggy McIntosh. This checklist made me look at my own privileges and really put into perspective how differently people can experience the world due to their race. An item that stood out to me was the item that reads, "I can turn on the television or open to the front page of the paper and see people of my race widely represented." This item particularly stood out to me because it made me rethink all of the shows that I watched for years. This checklist item stuck with me, and when writing the Tumblr blogs for this class, I decided to look at a show that I watched for many years, The Vampire Diaries. This show has since received backlash for the racism that occurred both on and off screen. Kat Graham, the only black main character on the show, has talked about her experience on the show. She has talked about how Hollywood does not like natural black hair, and despite her attempts to have her character's hair changed to something more natural, she was forced to continue to wear wigs and weaves for her role. Another thing that stood out to me about cultural identity during my time in Art 150 was Karen Higa's Tokyo Miyataki in Our World. In Karen Higa's Tokyo Miyataki in Our World, the image of the yearbook with the description of how they were performing their Americanness for the outside world and living their American dream in confinement was especially powerful for me. I think that this really illustrates how many people of different races feel like they have to blend into white culture in order to avoid discrimination to this day. We also looked at the couple in a cage experiment in Multicultural America. This experiment was conducted to see how people reacted to a couple in a cage wearing clothes that resembled traditional Native American attire. People laughed and took pictures with the couple, thinking that they were there for their entertainment. This reminded me of the use of stereotypes in modern media, especially in comedic ways. Despite sometimes not being done with malice, these works continue to perpetuate harmful stereotypes. Overall, my time in Multicultural America has made me more aware of the world around me, and I will definitely keep all these lessons in mind as I continue to pursue a career in public health. I will hopefully be able to take these lessons and use them to help reduce racial disparities.